let's talk about a different kind of intelligence. What if I told you the most powerful kind isn't about what you know, but about what you don't say? Today, we're diving into a powerful, often hidden type of intelligence that's all about playing the game when you realize the world doesn't always play by the rules. So let's just get this out of the way. The world, it doesn't always play fair. And that can be a tough pill to swallow, right? You can be the most honest, hardworking person out there, and someone else can still swoop in and take what you've earned. But here's the thing. Recognizing this isn't about being negative or cynical. It's about being a realist. It's the first real step toward not just surviving, but actually winning. So if that's the reality, how do you navigate it? Well, think of it like this. Most people are out there playing checkers. They're just reacting to what happens, making moves based on emotion. They're totally predictable. But this explainer, this is about learning to play chess. It's about thinking 3 moves ahead, acting with purpose, and staying in control no matter how chaotic the game gets. And that brings us to this core idea: dark intelligence. Now, I know what you're thinking. Dark intelligence sounds, well, dark. But it's not about being some kind of movie villain. It's about the kind of strength you can only build after you've been hurt or betrayed. It's that quiet ability to just listen and watch while everyone else is panicking. It's about choosing cold, hard strategy over messy, emotional reactions. But before we go any deeper, let's be absolutely clear about one thing. This knowledge is a shield, not a weapon. The goal here is to protect yourself, to understand the rules of the game so you can't be played. It's not about learning how to go out and hurt people. So, how do we start building the shield? Well, the very first lesson is all about controlling your information. I want you to start thinking of your words, your personal details, as currency. You wouldn't just walk down the street handing out cash, right? So why are we so quick to give away our most valuable information for free? Machiavelli absolutely nailed it centuries ago. What people think they see is, for all intents and purposes, their reality. And that brings us to our first technique, which has a pretty cool name: calculated opacity. Basically, it's the art of intentionally controlling what other people get to see. And by doing that, you control what they think they know. So how do you actually pull this off? It's not as complicated as it sounds. It's about a few small but powerful shifts. Just listen more than you talk. When somebody asks you a really direct question, try flipping it and asking them a question back. Remember, you don't owe every single person your entire life story. The little gaps you leave, they're not about lying, they're about creating intrigue. And let me tell you, in this game, intrigue is power. And this whole idea of leaving gaps flows right into our next strategy: controlled exposure. Think about it. We live in a world of total oversharing. So you know what becomes a superpower? A little bit of mystery. When you hold back, when you don't lay all your cards on the table, people's imaginations start filling in the blanks for you, and you get to guide that narrative. Getting this right is a total game changer. You create that curiosity gap. You let your achievements and skills come out over time. It makes you seem like you're constantly growing. And that last point, it's huge. You have to remember, once information is out there, especially online, you can never get it back. So be intentional. All right, so we've talked about controlling the information you're putting out into the world. Now, let's shift gears and talk about mastering your one-on-one interactions. How do you connect with people in a way that builds real influence? I want you to really think about this for a second. It's a simple question. When you're dealing with other people, are you a rock, rigid, unchanging, forcing them to go around you? Or are you water? The answer, of course, is you want to be like water. This is what we call an adaptive persona. Now, this is super important. This is not about being fake. Water is always water, right? It just takes the shape of its container. You're still you. Your core values don't change, but you're smart enough to adapt how you communicate. You wouldn't talk to a 5-year-old the same way you'd talk to a CEO, would you? It's just about being effective. Okay, now let's take it up a notch. This next technique is seriously powerful. It's called the psychological echo. This is next level stuff. It's about becoming a mirror for the person you're talking to. Because let's be honest, people are rarely just saying words. They're broadcasting their hopes, their fears, their needs. Your job is to hear what's behind the words. So how do you actually do this? It's simple, but it's not easy. It all starts with this. Stop listening just to figure out what you're going to say next. Start listening to actually understand. Try to pinpoint the emotion behind what they're saying. If a friend says, "I just hate my job," don't jump in with solutions. Just reflect the feeling back. Wow, it sounds like you're feeling really trapped. That one little move builds an insane amount of trust and makes them way more open to what you have to say. Okay, so we've got a handle on controlling our information and mastering our interactions. But what's the internal engine that makes all this work? Well, that brings us right to our third section, developing the strategist's mindset. Let's kick this off with a really fundamental question. I want you to picture any negotiation, a salary discussion, a business deal, even just deciding where to go for dinner. Who in that room truly holds the power? The answer is simple. It's the person who is genuinely willing to walk away. This is the principle of detachment. And it's not about being cold or not caring. It's about freeing yourself from being desperate. The less you need that job or that deal or that person's approval, the more power you have. If you've already accepted the worst case scenario, what leverage do they have over you? None. And this really highlights the difference between how amateurs and pros think about power. Amateurs think power is loud, it's demanding, it's forceful, but real power often whispers. This idea of silent leverage is all about building influence without ever having to raise your voice. It's about becoming so valuable, so indispensable, that power just naturally flows to you. And the final piece of this whole mindset is something called outcome obsession. Look, so many of us get completely sidetracked trying to win arguments, trying to prove we're right. But an outcome-obsessed person asks a totally different question. What is the result I am actually trying to achieve here? That simple shift changes the entire game. You stop fighting pointless battles, and you focus only on what gets you to the finish line. So, we've covered some incredibly powerful and, let's be honest, kind of dangerous ideas. Which means for our last section, we have to talk about the most important part of all: how to use this knowledge with a purpose, with a strong ethical compass. Now, this next concept is tricky, so stick with me. Ambiguous morality does not mean having no morals, not at all. It means understanding that in the real world, the nice thing to do isn't always the right thing to do. Think about a manager who has to lay off one person to save the jobs of 10 others. It's a brutal choice in the moment, but it's the one that leads to the best long-term outcome for the group. It's about pragmatic ethics. And that's why you absolutely need a framework, a set of personal, non-negotiable rules. These skills have to be for your protection, not to cause harm. You should be looking to create win-win situations. You have to know what your core values are and never compromise them. Because at the end of the day, true power isn't about controlling other people. It's about mastering yourself. So it really all comes down to this. The true purpose of this so-called dark intelligence isn't to become a master manipulator. It's to become someone who can't be manipulated. The most valuable, the most influential person in any room is the one who understands how people tick and uses that knowledge to make things better, not worse. So, the only question left is, what kind of person are you going to be?